Okay. I will wait to see if anybody appears. Look at my headset. Fly. Super fly. Wait, this is actually a pretty cool aesthetic. Our peeps camera. Let's have a look. See if I'm on one. Because if I know it's working for sure, then I can just begin. Where's Twitch? Twitch. Bitch. It says I'm live. Let's see if it plays. Yeah. Yes, it works. I can now exit the app and work as required. So, hello anybody who is tuning in. My name is Rory Justin. I am the Cinemapunk, which is why I have this natch and this natch. And oh, happy Thursday, my dude. Hope all is well from Mikey Mike W. Thank you very much, Mikey. Happy Thursday to you, and I hope you're doing fine. I am doing absolutely wonderfully. Just doing, as I say, a small technical test to make sure that everything is working. Now, so yeah, it's because once basically this setup won't probably change a huge amount if it works. So let me take these off my face. Blah, blah, blah. Hello. Don't worry, I've got a ring light here to. Oh, there we go. So I'm not quite as dark as I would otherwise be. Let me just fish. Get mesmerised. So yeah, this is the sort of format I may be going with. I would have. I've been putting off doing stuff like this for a little while. I was planning on doing of building a set that I could have all my equipment set up permanently in instead of being in my lounge, but unfortunately life doesn't work out that way yet, so but eventually I will do. I've already got the set designed, and I know how to cheaply and easily build it, so it will look really cool, cyberpunk and goth, like not the sort of sci-fi-ish, so that'll look really cool. But yeah, I'm going to take this off my head for the time being. The ridges, but yeah, basically oh dear, my lights are still on. Yeah, so basically the idea of this is to try and work out a good repartee for one-on-one stuff. So the way that the website, the way the TV Guide is currently looking, I don't know if I'm loud enough. I should be with this. Boom, boom. Yeah, I'm quite high. The way that I'm hoping to do this is having a live stream for discussing Cyberpunk and discussing the channel, so that people basically can get back and forth with me. It's, I think, something that will, considering I want to try and run it a bit more like a TV station, I think having that as sort of a way of making it sort of closer to a merge, so you get that one-on-one with the station owner, which, you know, sounds posher than it is when it's just a bloke running a Twitch stream. But essentially you can get one-on-one feedback. Anyone who has ideas, suggestions, things they want to see, they can tune in and basically say to me, hey, I had an idea, and I can go, yes, I like idea, thank you. And yeah, so there's an awful lot of stuff. Now I spent a lot of time, I announced doing this, a lot of wind and fan noise. That may be difficult to cover because I think that's the PC that's streaming. It's a big beast, and it has big fans. Hang on, I'm gonna mute something a sec. So, has that fixed it, or are you still hearing wind and fan noise? Because that was background music from a game that's currently on in the background. But if you're still hearing it, then that's the PC. Which means that I may need to rejiggle where the microphone is. Just waiting for that. That's James C990. So I'll just wait for a response. Can you still hear it? If the answer is yes, I'll move the microphone and see how we go from there. It could be, the PC is literally, the microphone's here, and the PC is here, so maybe that's why. Oh, okay, Toast Monster didn't hear any noise. That's interesting. Let's turn that back on. Has it returned now that I've just turned the background music back on? I'll tell you what, rather than bugger about with that, let's hit the home screen on the Xbox. That should nullify it. If you can still hear wind and fan noise, let me know, and I'll know that I need to move the microphone, because it's, yeah, the only thing that's making noise in here right now is the PC. Can still hear it. Okay, let's try moving the macrophone. Let's bosh that over there. Do. Sorry, I bet if there's any noise from that. Oh, now I've got to try and... No, stop spinning. You are not to spin. You are to do what Master Rory says. Are you still hearing it, James? Just verify for me, James, are you still hearing it? If the answer's yes, then it might be your end. If the answer's no, then I know it's where my microphone was placed. Hi! Respondez-vous! Talk to me. For love and charity. You can't hear it. Okay, cool. So, yeah, it might have been... Cool. Excelente. I have to fix this... Okay, actually, that's a better idea. Lock it in place. Excellent. Right, I'm going to watch the levels, because I tested it for over there with the levels. The problem I've got is it's actually a boom mic for professional film. Hello, Dave Fisher. Welcome aboard. Yeah, it's a professional boom mic, so it's not really designed for this stuff, but it kind of works. But I have to be careful not to make it peak. Yeah, cool. Cool. Okay, so that looks like that's fixed everything. Excellent. Right, I'm gonna move my drink then, like a pro, because it's easier to have it there. I didn't break it. So, first of all, before I get on with anything else, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's joining me, and I think pretty much everyone here I recognise from the Dominic Diamond Twitch stream, which is excellent. So, thank you very much, guys, for jumping aboard for this test stream. I'm doing fine, actually, Dave. Thank you very much. Unless you're talking to James Nancy. But yeah. This is excellent. Now, I'm going to give you a little heads up, since most of you seem to have come from the GamesMaster forum, the GamesMaster Dominic Diamond stream. On the GamesMaster front, at the moment there are no plans to stream GamesMaster on the channel yet, because I've not yet acquired the rights from Future Publishing. I have contacted them, so... Essentially, if I was to play it now and they were to go, hang on, you've not got license for that, I'd be boned. So I need to get agreements in place first. As part of parcel of that, I have actually applied for a job at Future Publishing, which is to do with syndication rights of their properties. Whether or not I get that is a completely different story. But I have applied for that job with an odd bearing on the basis that I'm the only person who can actually increase the value of the revenue they can get out of GamesMaster, because I can restore it into 4K. As most of you guys in the chat room at the moment will have seen already. For anyone who's joined me who isn't aware of what I'm talking about, if you go to Cyberpunk Film, or Cyberpunk Studios, sorry, on YouTube, and just look us up, it's got the same logo that you'll see on this Twitch channel. Basically, I've got the first half of the final episode of GamesMaster restored into 4K. And you'll see what I've done there. It's not just a basic upscale like they've done with things like Red Dwarf and that in the past.
It essentially rebuilds all the faces, including basically 4K resolution, skin texture details and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't look quite the same as if we'd gone to a film negative and like restored the film from a negative, but with GamesMaster that can't happen because it was filmed on videotape, or VTR, as I think, rather than actual VCR tape. But either way, it was filmed on tape rather than on film, so going back to the original film negatives isn't actually possible, so it's the closest we can do to making it 4K. So I'm hoping to get more of that done. On the flip side of that, the biggest barrier to doing the entire series of something like GamesMaster, like restoring the lot, is the time frame it takes. Using basically one of the programs I use, it would take me each week, working 5 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day. The most I could do is about 2.5 minutes a week, and bear in mind that there's like hundreds of minutes of the show. I think it was 625 minutes worth of the show over the course of its 7 seasons. I worked out that mathematically, if I was to do it constantly, it would take me 25 years to do the entire show, which isn't really doable. So I've contacted the manufacturer of that app, essentially to ask if they can either create an add-on for it, or if there's a pay way that I can sort of get into basically being able to upload frames in bulk and processing those frames in one lump sum. And that way, because basically the problem with it is I have to sit there and move each individual frame, and there's 25 per second. I have to do it one after the other, and I have to process each one individually. So being able to just go, here's a folder of frames, slide in, done, and like even if it takes time, it will take time, but I can leave that in the background while I do something else. Whereas at the moment, I can't do anything else. If I do that job, I literally can't do anything else, because I've got to sit there and go click, click, wait for it, about 4 or 5 seconds, save, move next one, click, and you've got to do it constantly. So yeah, so there's only 25 years has changed. So yeah, there are things I'm trying to do to push that forward, to try and to A, ease the process, and B, get a little bit of backing from and support from Future, one way or another. So hopefully in time you'll see that sort of stuff appear. I know that there's a crossover in my audience anyway. Obviously, it's called Cyberpunk Studios. I'm a big fan of Cyberpunk. I've been watching loads of Cyberpunk films, and I'll get to some of the Cyberpunk films here that I've recently got. But I know there's also a big crossover of people who are into video games. Same as me. Anyone who's so the Toastmaster asks, I guess you're eagerly awaiting Cyberpunk 2077. Yes and no. Yes, I am, because that game looks amazing. No, because I don't think I'll have the money to buy it. So I might have to put that on a Christmas list or something to essentially to give me the chance to play it. But yeah, so I might be about a month late to the party on that one. But that game does look incredible. On the subject of games, so as I say, a lot of people who've come through Dominic Diamond's channel, a lot of them on that channel because of GamesMaster, and there's a huge amount of video game fans that are watching me at the moment. So Cyberpunk gaming was something I really wanted to sort of do an appreciation of, and obviously the aforementioned Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be probably the biggest Cyberpunk game, certainly of this year, likely of all time. So there's an awful lot to look forward to in that front, and I've got enough consoles, hopefully, to do at least a reasonable job of it. So to give you an idea of some of the consoles that I'm able to do, going through history, depending on what people are after, really, I can go all the way back to the early 80s, because I've got a Sega SG-1000, which will do that. I've got the Master System, I've got the Mega Drive, I have a Mega CD and a 32X, though I might need to do a bit of modification on at least the 32X part, because it keeps jailbarring, which means I get these really deep lines in the background which aren't there on my normal Mega Drive. Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, and I've got the N64, GameCube, I've got the original Xbox, which is HDMI'd now, the 360 and the Xbox One, and I've got a PS3 and a PS4. So I've got quite a varied range there, mostly of Sega, because that's my jam. But yeah, there's going to be some swing there. Obviously, I've got like things like Headhunter for the Dreamcast, which is a smaller known Cyberpunk. You've got Perfect Dark on the N64, which is a well-known Cyberpunk. You've got Cyberpunk 2077, which is probably the biggest Cyberpunk. So there's going to be a lot of stuff like that we can play and toil around with. And we're going to get to that in a little bit, because I've actually got, basically in order to get that to work, I've had to order another capture device. Now the capture device you're seeing here is actually pretty high quality by the looks of it, which is good, because it's a 4K input on my PC. But I couldn't afford another one of those, because they're like 130 quid. So with COVID being the way it is, so I've ordered a £10 HDMI one, which I've got the consoles running through at the moment. It's maybe a little laggy, is the only thing that I can see on there. It doesn't lag when I'm playing, thankfully, because of the way I've got it set up, but we'll see. Hopefully in time I can just swap that out for another proper recording chip and ignore it, and that'll be perfect for the foreseeable future. So this is all starting points, but anyone who's into gaming, I have been contacting companies, and I've got a few things that I can go through that are video game related, at least. I can talk about, including F-Zero's manga. I've got a DVD of that. The DVD is not good because it never got released outside of Japan. It never got translated, apart from this disc is the only translation. It's a 3-disc set. 2 of the discs have nothing printed on them at all, and I'm not kidding. I'll show you the Chinese knockoff disc. It has 2 absolute dead discs. You look at the back, and it's just, you see through it. And I'll show you the first disc, which actually has content on it. You can see, you can't see through it. It's actually got content burnt to it. The problem is as well, though, is the other reason why it's bad is not only is it only 1 disc out of the 3. The translation has been done from Japanese to Chinese, and then from Chinese to English by a Chinese person. So it doesn't make any sense. The lines are... It's the best thing I can connect it with in sort of Western terms was when someone translated the 3rd Star Wars film in the prequel trilogy into Chinese, and then the Chinese translated it back to English. And the bit right at the end where Darth Vader, realises he's become Darth Vader, and he goes, "No!" They translated that to "do not want." So Toastmaster just mentioned that as well. Do not want. Literally, it is an F-Zero anime of do not want the whole way through. But the saddest bit is it doesn't have the best part of it, which is right at the end of the series. I've seen this on a clip from YouTube. He actually does a Falcon Punch straight into Black Shadow's face, and that's not on that disc, because that's right at the end of the series, and it's only got the first disc. So, brilliant series, I think, but from what I can gather out of the small amount I can see. Obviously got King of Kong, so that would be interesting. Game Over, which is Kasparov versus Deep Blue. Captain N and the new Super Mario World DVD. That had to be imported. That's cool. Video game music in context in Japan, which I believe has several people in here, including let's have a look. Yes, Masashi Hamauzu from Mono Music. He does piano collections from Final Fantasy 13. It's got Hidenori Shoji, who did the music for Yakuza 4 and Sega. So it's got some cool stuff on there. Press Start, which is an indie film from America. Ballistic X vs. Sever. These are ones I've got on DVD. I've got other things on DVD and a lot more on Blu-ray as well. Ballistic X vs. Sever. I actually liked that film for the first half, and then it kind of lost its way. But yeah, I think I was the only one who did kind of like the first half. And Gamebox 1.0, which was an official film. Well, I don't know if it's kind of an indie, but it's not great. It's alright. It's not great. The weirdest one I've got, which I haven't got on me at the moment, it's over there, is a film called Stay Alive, which is a Disney horror film based on video games. I hadn't heard of it before until about 3 months ago, and I was like, Disney horror film? And I looked at it, it's a genuine, it's got the lead guy who played Malcolm from Malcolm in the Middle, as the lead character, and it's a Disney horror film where people get murdered by playing video games. And I was just like, this is the weirdest... I haven't watched it yet either. I've had it for 3 months, I haven't watched it. But, yeah. Someone's asked, are you sure it's not Miramax Pictures or Touchstone? I'm pretty certain it's... Well, it doesn't have the Disney castle on it, I'll give it that. But it's definitely Disney owned. I suppose technically that is a good point. Because there's... what's it called? I think it definitely has Disney's branding on the DVD, though. I know for a fact that Super Mario Brothers is technically part owned by Disney because of Touchstone. So... which I have on Blu-ray, because it's a great film, and I don't care what anyone says. Talking about comparing certain films and things, so I did a very short run series called Cyber Reviews on my YouTube channel, which was reviewing Blu-rays of Cyberpunk movies. I nicked that on the head a little bit quick, not because I wanted to stop, but simply because I was looking at doing things like this. And so I've got a script almost fully written for the first one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it as like a pairing, where I compare two Cyberpunk films instead, and those Cyberpunk films can also be video game movies, because a lot of video game movies slide a bit into Cyberpunk because of the very nature of them. Cyberpunk manga, Toastmaster asks, unfortunately, I have no idea about manga in general. I've seen Cyber City Edo 808, haven't seen that either. I know of it when I looked up Cyberpunk movies. I know there's a movie of Cyber City Edo, as well as obviously Akira started off as a comic and is also a film. I'll be honest, my knowledge of anime is tiny. My knowledge of manga is even smaller than that. Though I do have Akira, and I do have Metropolis, which was written by Katsuhiro Otomo, who made Akira. Mikey, if you're happy to help with Cyberpunk manga comics and things like that, then Cowboy Bebop. I have seen the film, but it didn't make any sense without the rest of the series, and I haven't seen the series. Yeah, man, drop me a line after this, and we'll discuss the idea of like getting you on board for doing Cyberpunk mangas and stuff. I've got a little bit of Cyberpunky comic stuff, so let's just grab these. So I've got a couple of bits, but they're all very specific. So I've got Perfect Dark Zero, which had this is this is basically episode 0, issue 0. They redid issue 0 for issue 1, but they changed all the coloration. So this was a lot more darker coloration than what you had in the final comic. It was a little bit more gritty looking. And then I've got the each issue of the original comic. I've got the compilation book, and I've got a signed version of the compilation book with exclusive Comic-Con art. I'm a big fan of Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark's my jam. I've got both the novels, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, it's got barcodes in it. It'd be really cool actually if they made a new one of these, because they were meant to be a third one. Instead of putting barcodes as like paragraph breaks, that they instead put in QR codes that would scan. That would be so cool. But yeah, Perfect Dark is very much my jam. So I've got stuff related to that, and I've also got the comic book for Mirror's Edge. But I've never been into anime and manga all that much. I had like a brief flutter with it when I was a teenager, but it didn't really stick to me. Have I tried scanning the barcodes? No, because I don't have a barcode scanner. But it would be... I don't think they mean anything. Certainly if they did, that novel series has been dead for about 10 years, so I think the barcodes would probably have died by now. I don't know, is quite honestly the answer. But there's an awful lot of video game related stuff that I'm going to be doing, and the comparison stuff, the first comparison video is going to be Metropolis versus Metropolis. So the 1927 German original, which is technically the first ever cyberpunk film ever made, versus Metropolis 2001, which is the anime written by Katsuhiro Otomo, based on the 1949 manga. Very strange combination on those two, but both are really good films. Both are really good films. Again, this is coming from someone who really isn't a fan of anime, and generally, let's be honest, you don't remake something as classic as Metropolis, but they did a blinding job on the anime on that, so it was one of those rare times where instead of just going, no, I can't, I'm just like, yeah, alright. I love the soundtrack as well, the soundtrack really. Oh yeah, the recently restored version of Blu-ray of Metropolis is the closest to complete it's ever been, which I think is 130 minutes long. The original print was 145, but lots of bits went missing because most of the missing prints are normally found, like when they try and rescan films, usually they source prints from America because they have the American Library of Congress, I believe, things like that, which store these for safekeeping. But in America, a lot of films like that got chopped up quite severely. Metropolis at its worst got chopped down to I think 75 minutes from 145, so there was an awful lot of missing footage in the American Library of Congress version, and certainly the other versions. They've basically had to go around loads of private collectors to try and find the missing pieces, and there's still 15 minutes missing after this long. Weirdly enough as well, the soundtrack to the original Metropolis, because it was made in 1927 and it was a silent film, the music would be played live by a bloke on a piano or an organ or a live orchestra, depending on what type of music it was for the cinema. So you'd have like a little pit with people performing to the silent film. That soundtrack was never recorded until 2001. So every version that was shown on TV or on, like anything like that prior to 2001 used a unique soundtrack that was made for the film but not by the original creators, which sort of came to a weird head in 1984, and then there was what they consider a pop soundtrack for it, which starred people like Freddie Mercury and things like that doing it. That's it. Mikey's just mentioned that. The 80s soundtrack with Giorgio Moroder was hilarious. Yep, I haven't heard it, and I don't want to. I can't imagine it would fit the film at all. That's the sort of thing where I'm like, nah, you're damaging a quality film. Where, yeah, I know Adamant was on it, but it doesn't matter. It's not the right thing. It's like putting Ozzy Osbourne on The Sound of Music. You just don't mix the genres like that. Or maybe put in. Actually, I was going to say putting Rob Zombie to Blade Runner, but they kind of did that and called it The Matrix. So maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, that's kind of that. On the Cyberpunk film side, some of my new watches is Fortress. So I've got Christopher Lambert Die Festung, because it's a German Blu-ray. They don't release this outside of Germany. Germany's pretty cool as a place to get Blu-rays in if they're kind of niche, because they release things that they don't release anywhere else. I guess they've got more money than sense. But this is a great film. Absolutely recommend Fortress. Great film. In Time, which I've not yet watched, which is Justin Timberland. iRobot, which I have seen, but it's, I wasn't a big fan of iRobot. I thought it sort of lost out. Haven't watched this Blu-ray yet, but I have seen the film before, Johnny Mnemonic, which is a classic. It was so William Gibson's films have often been turned into cinematic experiences, but this is the only one that was written. The screenplay was actually written by William Gibson, which is a bit of a shame in some ways because it's not the best cyberpunk ever made, which really it should be when you've got someone of that quality to it. I don't know if he maybe nerfed some of his ideas for the script or if it was just a lack of experience in script format. I don't know, but it's still a great film nonetheless. Der Rasenmähermann. Everyone's favourite. Everyone loves the Rasenmähermann. It's the Lawnmower Man, if anyone's wondering and can't tell from the box. Again, they don't release this in the UK, so I got the German Blu-ray. I watched this last night, actually, and it's good fun. Good fun. The ending's a bit weird. I suppose it's always going to be weird if you're going into futuristic 3D worlds, as it was said by 1993, but that was alright. The 13th Floor was a really good film. So that's one I'd recommend. That came out a month after The Matrix, and it kind of got missed because it's sort of an unknown. But yeah, that's actually really good. Someone mentioned Hardwired. I've got Hardware, which is a British cyberpunk, which has a huge amount of rock stars in it, including Iggy Pop and what's his name? The lead singer of lead singer of Ace of Spades. You know who I'm talking about now. Motorhead. Lemmy was in it as a cab driver, but I haven't watched it yet. I just know he's in it. Ultraviolet I got recently. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently it's an eye-boggling triumph. Says Kerrang, and you know that Kerrang never gets it wrong. And then Virtuosity with Russell Crowe fighting around the world with Denzel Washington. What's weird about this film is Russell Crowe's character in it, at the beginning at least, is very much... it's very clear he's taken a huge amount of homage or inspiration from Max Headroom in the way he performs. So yeah, that's a great... well, it's an alright film actually, it was a bit cheesy. To be honest, you can pretty much preface a lot of Cyberpunk with, it's a bit cheesy. I also watched a film that was on Amazon Prime, though you have to sign up for Full Moon subscription on top, which is like $3.99. You can get a month's free trial, though, if you just want to watch a few films, which is what I did. But yeah, they have a film called Arcade, which I've seen on DVD, but it's always been a lot of money or in America, and I've never had a chance to see it. So I watched it, and oh god, it's got John Delancey in it, who plays Q in Star Trek Next Generation. He's sort of running Arcade, the new arcade game that, basically... It's essentially the story of Kid Chameleon on the Mega Drive, this virtual arcade reality game that takes kids' souls and basically sucks them into the game when they lose. And they always lose, because it's a super AI, of course, it's from the 80s. And, well, it's actually early 90s, but yeah, basically, it also has Seth Green, a very young Seth Green, the guy who was Scotty-Doo in Goldmember and Austin Powers. He was Dr. Evil's son. He was also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but for some reason I mentioned Goldmember first. His crowning achievement. Oz from Buffy, someone mentioned it, I couldn't remember his name. It's sad when someone puts so much effort in and he's well known for a role like Oz in Buffy, and my remembrance of him is, he was the guy in Goldmember. What a wonderful thing to be remembered for. But yeah, so that's essentially that's the story there, chaps. There's the last thing I'm going to mention before I have a look at testing the video game side of things, get a bit of feedback on whether or not that side is actually functioning properly, is we've got, there are shows in writing at the moment which I can't yet film, for one of two reasons, either because of COVID, because essentially certain ones need audiences, which we are not allowed to have during COVID, which is understandable, or there's, or a lack of finances right now because of COVID. So there's, but one of them is a show tentatively called Press Start, which is not named after the film I showed you earlier, by the way. But essentially what it is it's like, it's not GamesMaster, because there's no way that I'm going to be able to match Dominic Diamond or any of the work that they did. They're incredible. But the concept of it is essentially like GamesMaster, but rather than trying to do... I want to preface this a little bit. So it doesn't sound cheesy or naff. Because I think it's a great idea, and actually the script has been really well received. And I've got several cast members cast in it already. But basically, the idea is I'm not doing what people were doing in the early 2010s. If you remember the early 2010s, that everyone and their dog was going, well, I like video games. I play video games on YouTube. Why don't I be the Top Gear of video games? and which is great as an elevator pitch. You know, what is it you want us to fund? What is the idea of your production? Top Gear of video games. Cool, great pitch. The problem is people got stuck on that elevator pitch and never moved forward. So they literally just did what they thought Top Gear was about, but talked about video games instead. And I think what made GamesMaster work in its sphere was that it was unique. Not just in the fact that it was video games, even if you were to nix the fact that it's video games from it, even as a sports or a contestant show, and a lot of that, to be fair, came from Dominic Diamond, it had a unique format, and certainly magazine shows weren't done about video games at its time. It was the first one that was a video game magazine show. There's been a few other video game shows. I was watching Starcade, which came out about 10 years earlier in America, but it was literally just basically Jeopardy with video games. There was nothing more like video game culture about it. It was literally just arcade games. Oh, come on down. Well, let's play Pac-Man. So, to be fair, I only watched the first host, who apparently got sacked because he was a bit naff, and then the second host was much better, but I need to get around to watching his ones. And again, you can watch Season 1 and Season 4, even though they're mislabeled, of Starcade on Amazon Prime, but again, it requires another additional, which is Shout Factory subscription. Again, you can get like a week free and just binge. Considering we're in COVID, if you're not working during COVID, then just binge. If you say binge hard enough, it sounds like you're offending someone. You are a binge. But basically, yeah, you've got... So the idea of this show is... We open up on a GamesMaster style format, but it's a piss take, almost. Not of GamesMaster directly, but of shows that take themselves too seriously. So... because I'm not a journalist. I've tried being a journalist before, but I'm not. My writing isn't skewed that way. I'm much better at writing fiction or banterous jokes and things like that. So I've skewed it that way. So instead of going into sort of the magazine element and going, well, let's have a look at what the journalists have to say, because no one cares about journalists anymore anyway. Instead we're going to do sketches, but. Part of the genius of it is it's not just me going, hey, let's play a video game. We play a video game, and it's going, now let's watch this sketch. It's the entire show every week is a comedy of errors. So you've got the host of the show, which is currently set as me. That can change, if people don't like me. But basically, you've got the host who's dressed as a monk. And you've got the director, who's not actually the director of the show, who's in a booth on the side of the stage, and essentially you get this almost Blackadder-ish element where he thinks he's in charge, but everything falls down around his ears, and everyone he works with is an idiot, and actually he just doesn't realise that he's also an idiot, making the show worse. But there are things planned for that to try and get celebrity guests involved, and things like that. But that's a show that will require an audience, because we want to hire a location and film in the location, have a studio audience with people that we can bring onto stage to play the games live on stage. It probably won't be live; it'll probably be pre-record like GamesMaster was. But the idea is that we're going to have genuine world record attempts on the show. We're going to have comedy on the stage. We're going to have comedy sketches. And actually, there's a sketch that I've had written for years that I'm breaking up a little bit, called Resident Evil Most Haunted, where essentially it's it's a weird mishmash of an honest-to-God following of the Resident Evil storyline from the first game, but instead of them all being from stars and, trying to be police, figure out why all the killings are going on, they're actually from a Most Haunted TV show. So anyone who's seen Derek Okora on Resident Evil, on Most Haunted on TV, will kind of know what to expect. Wesker is basically the Derek Okora, the psychic, and he's a complete idiot. And Barry is his spirit guide that no one else can see. So he's always walking around, what's that, Barry? That's brilliant, thank you, Barry. And then he's trying to use Barry but he thinks all the zombies are ghosts. And it's just winding Chris up, who's the scientist guy in the group. It's just like, clearly it's not ghosts. So there's an awful lot of stuff like that I need to that is kind of in the bag as far as the writing's concerned, and some of the casting and the ideas, and I know how much it would cost to make. And because of the way that this channel is probably going to be, it's going to be low budget, it's going to be independent, but it's going to be hopefully high end. So I'm looking for a sort of really good end product, one that you would expect to see on daytime TV, but a little bit nicer. Dave Fisher's got a bounce. Thanks for joining me, Dave. So yeah, there are shows in the works. When we start, it's probably going to be a lot of this. So there's Cinemapunk, which is a video review show. There's going to be a live stream like this, one-on-one, me all in the full screen. Hi, welcome, this is what we do. And there's going to be GamesMaster, which is me playing video games. There's also going to be Synthwave FM TV. I've got several Synthwave musicians on board. We're going to do Top of the Pops / early MTV style music video show. So that's all in the works, and well, that's already basically ready to go. So yeah, there's an awful lot of content, but it's not as much as you might expect at first. It's going to be something that I'll have to build over time. So that's, if you guys have anything that you want to see, if there's any ideas that you guys are like, well, there's a niche here that we're missing that I'd like someone to produce, let me know, if either in the comments now, or send me a message via the Dominic Diamond Discord chat, or via contact at cyberpunkstudios.co.uk, or via the Twitter at cyberpunkfilm, or the Facebook, facebook.com/cyberpunkfilm. So that's me talking an awful lot. So let's have a look and see if we can get the gaming section working. Now I've switched to here. If I put the filter of crop in, then I am central. Very central. Yes. So now we're on my Xbox screen, and we can play whatever from here. Let's go to...
Bring it on!
Let's see if I can kick some ass on the streets of rage. Shush. Need a drink. Update your Switch category. See, I'm new to this, thank you. Streets. Update information. There we go. On an Xbox One, for anyone who didn't see the very obvious dashboard that was there. I play Streets of Rage in any arcade I saw, says the Toast Monster, that and Double Dragon. There is actually a Double Dragon game that I've got on here, Double Dragon... I don't know what it is, not the name of it. I can check in the dashboard in a minute. There's no restrictions on my Xbox. Yeah, and Neon something, Neon Arcade or something like that, but it's really good. Okay, cool. Let's do that now. Game audio down. Let's put it to there. Okay, let me know if it's better now. So, yeah, there's a Double Dragon game that I've got on the on here as well, which I really enjoy it. I don't know if I've still got it actually. It might have been on a Game Pass and not on that at the moment. But down a bit more. Let's crank that down a bit more. Let's put it to there. That sounds like a bit better. Okay, let me know how it goes now, son. Don't know why I called you son. That's a very cheeky thing for me to say. Yeah, he likes it. Cool. The knots. No. Big fan of Streets of Rage. I wasn't actually a massive fan of 4 until they did the balance in September. The game balance has really helped it. It's a lot easier to play since then. I'm still not a massive fan of the combo system they brought out, to be fair. But it's probably because it's different. I'm kind of viewing Streets of Rage 4 as like the Streets of Rage 1 of a new trilogy. It kind of I think there's room for improvement, but definitely better than having sod all, which is what we've had for God knows how long. No. Testes, which is something I've missed doing for so long. Testes. But yeah, this is a really well-made title. I actually really like the graphical style as well. I didn't think I would. When I first saw it, I was kind of against it. But in action, it's really cool. And I have to say, thick blade. Oh yes, baby. Kill it. Fire. There we go. So yeah, video game quality apparently going well. Oh, shite. Now, something else that well, if this is working, then it will work with anything else as well. The OSSC doesn't like to play with my, doesn't like playing ball with my, what's it called, amp, which I also use as an HDMI splitter. So I have to be a bit aware, because basically my HDMI, my amp doesn't do anything higher than Full HD, and weirdly enough that's something that the OSSC doesn't do in a sort of an easy to understand format, because it upscales in integers, so it's kind of annoying. A 4K TV directly can deal with it, but then I can't record it, so yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the arse trying to figure that out. We're broadcasting in 720x60 with no need for anything very high. Oh, I see. Because I'm talking about the OSSC. Yes. No. The benefit with setup as well is I think there's I don't know. Can anyone tell me if a lot of people do think games like Jet Set Radio Future or anything like that? Because I mean I'm relatively new to Twitch, to be honest. So I don't know if anyone else has been playing those games, but with I've got the ability to play Jet Set Radio Future quite easily, and Outrun. All the Outruns that were on the original Xbox, the best ones. Outrun 2 and all that stuff, like Outrun 2 and 2006 Coast to Coast, and oh mate, those games are legend. I absolutely love those games. Let's see how this goes. Stab you in the ghoulies! Oh, no, the ghoulies! No, I need them! Give me the apple! Apple saft. That means apple juice in German. My upstairs neighbour is German. It's not relevant. It's just something to say. Oop. Oh, 2 of the buggers. Am I a mania? I think I'm a mania, aren't I? I've been an idiot. Jump! Oh, I jumped, you son of a sack. No, you didn't. Ah. Oh, no. I'm not gonna make it. There's not much Jet Set Radio Future, apparently. No more than 3 or 4 a day. But to be fair, that's more than I expected. So, hurrah! And I'm dead. That's what happens when you're distracted, son. Okay. So, I mean, that's Streets Rage 4. Let's look at the games. So yeah, I've got Cloudpunk, which I got recently for the channel. Double Dragon Neon, that's the one. I think I need to buy it though, because I've got Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon. There's quite a few games on here. I've got more games that I've had to uninstall because space. But yeah, Katana Zero. I do not have Katana Zero. Never even heard of Katana Zero, actually. Apparently it's really good, according to Mark W. So that's cool. I've got Hover. I was a bit disappointed in Hover. I was like, I'll play a bit of Hover and I'll show you what I mean. Let's change the category. So going into Hover. So it's kind of, I can see the amount of love that's gone into it, and the fact that they're obviously massive fans of Jet Set Radio, which is great, because so am I. The problem with it, I'm finding, is they've tried to do too much. They obviously don't have a massive, like a huge budget, because it's a relatively small team, which is fine. The problem is that they've tried to do more than Jet Set Radio Future ever could, but on a much smaller budget, and it's the little things that have gone wrong. So rather than being on skates, you're free running, and the problem is you've got a wider turning circle in this from standing than you do in Jet Set Radio. Like, if I want to turn around, I have to kind of, it's this. I'm just doing a rotation of stick, and there's just no real turning circle there. Now the actual concept of the thing, like you can jump up buildings and jump your way up, which is cool. I like that. That's a cool addition. The other thing that I don't like though is grinding isn't automatic. So if you want to grind, you have to hold the X button, and that's fine in some areas. But if you're in a clinch, it becomes really hard to sort of, you don't magnetise to things very well either. Like Jet Set Radio Future was and Jet Set Radio was a bit more forgiving. Not only would you automatically grind, because if I let go of the X button, it stops grinding. But not only was Jet Set Radio more forgiving, it would also sort of magnetise you more to the railings, which would make it easier for you to actually get onto a railing and start grinding and doing what you need to do. This is also a bit open world, which, to be fair, isn't a fault really of the game, but I'm not a massive fan of open world style games, and so that also doesn't really reach trick score. Things just happen and I don't know why. So video compression is worse with bit rates. I am at stream 2500 kilobytes per second. Yeah, 2500 kbps. Okay, apparently that's low. What do you reckon I should be at? Fair, I've got 6,000. Okay. Why that? Right, let me know if it pops up. I've just bumped it up to 6,000. To be fair, I've got a 350 megabyte connection here with a shitload of uploads. My broadband should be able to handle quite a lot. It's also wired, it's not wireless. So, okay, cool. So that's cleared up the compression. Fantastic. Hop-de-doo-doo. Shall we have a little test? Let's see if I can comp it. Just to be a cheeky sod. Now, let's try looking at 10,000. Because I want to be able to see if because my internet should be able to handle it. As I say, I've got, I think it's 25, because it's 350 download and I think 25 to 35 upload meg, so it should be pretty good. It's like the top that you can get from Virgin. I said that they're all right, don't they? Yeah! A big little flip. Flip-a-da-doo-da. So yeah, actually I'm enjoying this a little bit, but it's, when you're doing trials, There's certain trials like races and stuff you have to do, and I find it just exactly infuriating sometimes to actually complete because they're turning circle things. It's one of those. I'll tell you what it is in basic terms. Some games when you play them, like Streets of Rage 4 for example, if I fail at a level, I can pretty much guarantee that it's my fault. You know, even if I've, you know, even if I'm frustrated. Okay. Maybe that's on my bed. Yeah. I can basically guarantee it's my fault, even if I'm frustrated at the fact that I shouldn't have lost. I kind of know I should have lost. Whereas with this game, half the time, at least, when I'm failing a mission, it's because I'm fighting the controls as well as fighting to win the challenge, which, you know, is not what you want to be feeling when you're playing a game. Having a run. Whee! Just acting like a child now. So let's exit out of this game. DuckTales, I've enjoyed DuckTales. Do you guys want to see something that shouldn't be allowed? I can access Netflix while in this mode. No, I won't do it. Yes. I have an HDMI device, which I got because I got a VHS player to do some recording and stuff for another project. That project ended up not coming about, but I went to like a professional VHS forum to ask them, you know, basically what the best way is to transfer to digital, and they recommended this splitter box, which has one input and two outputs, and this particular box strips away HDCP, which basically means I can watch anything through and technically record anything that comes up on my Xbox, not have to worry about HDCP restrictions, which is pretty natch. I quite like that. Not that I've done it. What else have we got? We got Perfect Dark. Got to love a bit of Perfect Dark. I'll end on a little bit of Perfect Dark because we're near the hour now. Because most of this was just testing. Let's have a look and see how this comes about. So I've got to keep that at about 20 years. Going back in time to Xbox 360 time. God, that's nearly 15 years. It's about 15 years old now. I'm old. I was out of uni. No, I might have been at the tail end of uni when... No, I think I was out of uni when I got this. I'd already finished uni. Flipping hell. Oh yeah, I'm going to change this to say, oh, I'm in Perfect Dark now. That's... Oh. Perfect Dark. So now I'm on Perfect Dark. Right, so in order to test this, I'm not going to do the solo missions because I want to do an actual episode on Perfect Dark and things like that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to play a silly mode that I made called Alien vs Predators. Double check that thing's there. Basically, there's me on the blue team because we're with the Marines. And then you've got brown team because they blend in better with the background, which is the aliens, and they're all aliens. And then you've got Venge Sim, who is the Predator. He was purple, which is why he doesn't look like a Predator in this. I need to change the model, but he was originally Mr. Purple, which is the guy from what's it called? That woman show on Netflix. The Netflix character, the Marvel character, Magenta Man. Oh, I can't remember her name, but she beats people up. So yeah, essentially I have to try and survive this. Oh yeah, it's one hit kills. The aliens are only allowed to punch. Guns, give me guns. No, you fool! Oh no, let's just get into a better gun, you twat. Right. That'll help. Oh, no! By the way, they're all dark sims, so when the predator has a gun, it's literally like he'll fire one bullet from a machine gun and hit me every time. It's insane. No, shoot him in the balls like a gentleman. And we shoot you in the balls. I'm actually having a really easy ride of it. It's a skip, like this is normally incredibly tense and annoying, but because it started me in the best possible position, it's really not much of a challenge. Tell you what, let's go down to the low levels. Just life and limb! Come on, you bounder! Anyone coming? Oh, I hear death. Oh, they're all running from me, that's why. Guten Tag, ladies. Yeah. Oh. Oh, there's death. No, let me out. There's death. There we go. Hello. Ah. Weird thing about the fist sims is they will always disarm you before killing you, no matter. So basically, you can sort of get another punch. You can survive a punch by having a gun out. If you can cycle guns in quick enough, you can essentially evade dying quite so badly. Oh. Yeah. Oh no. There's just no way. Meh. That was like a little cinema just for me. Oh! No! No! Oh, the other good thing, end grenades. This is a commercially released game, yes. It was so Perfect Dark came out on the N64, and this was an update. Oh no! Thank you. A graphical update made by Microsoft, because they now own Rare, to the game that came out on the Xbox 360. They were going to do the same with GoldenEye, but Nintendo nerfed it basically. No! Now the good thing with the M-bomb is if you get punched by a fist sim while holding one unpinned, you'll take them with you. You drop the Grenadium. Though it doesn't work if you get shot by a revenge sim. Kill it? Yeah. In the original, they were called M-bombs, which was a much better name. But they changed it in the remake for obvious reasons. So I still call them M-bombs most of the time. Because I just think because they're more like a bomb than they are a grenade. It's insane. Right. Oh, Jesus! That was a huge... Let's put out another one of these buggers. Into Papa. 2 buggers! Soft fillet. In the head! Shot me in the head. That will do. Yeah, we're not far from the end of this match. What I'll do, I'll show you a bit of a single player Toastmaster, so you might recognise it a little bit more than... Oh, hello! Multiplayer mode. I'll be honest, the original Perfect Dark, I still think is one of the best first-person shooters ever made. Don't get me wrong, this is aged. Of course, even the updated graphics of this show it's aged. But the number of modes is just insane. The single player is very much like GoldenEye, so you've got things you've got to do rather than just walk through a game and kill everything in your path. There's actual missions you have to fulfill. Oh, I'm stuck somewhere. Yeah, I get stuck in places sometimes. But you've also got the co-op mode. So even on the N64, you could play 2-player co-op through the single-player missions with up to, I believe, 2 to 4 I think there's another 2. So you could have 4 players do the co-op, but between 1 and 3 of them had to be AI. You could have 2 human players and 2 AI, 2 human players, 1 AI, and etc. So you had that, which for an N64 was insane. And then you've got the what's it called? You've got the counter-op. Counter-operative has never been done since, and it's basically the reason why I look at a lot of modern first-person shooters. I'm like, yeah, but you're missing modes. You're just missing modes. No one, like even Perfect Dark Zero, didn't have the counter-op mode, which was a pain in the arse because the counter-op mode was hilarious. I used to play it with my brother all the time. Basically, one of you plays as the main character trying to complete the mission, and the second player plays as a random enemy. And this doesn't work on this version, but on the N64 one, because I was almost always the guy playing the enemy, because I'm annoying at heart, so being an annoying enemy was great. I found there was a glitch in the original one. Again, they patched it out for this, which is a shame. As the second player, you could go to, basically you could walk around all the enemies, they wouldn't react to you because you're one of them. But if you put it on a high enough difficulty, or shoot them you could shoot one of your friends, the other enemies, in the foot or somewhere which wouldn't kill them. And they go, oh, there she is, and start running up the stairs towards your mate. So my brother would start the mission, I'd just walk around shooting everyone in the foot. And then all of a sudden, he'd go through like the second or third door, and there was like an army of limping soldiers trying to kill him. And I was sitting there shooting at him. He was like, "What the hell?" The problem is if you run out of allies, then it can be a bit of a problem. So yeah, so as I say, you've got your solo missions, and I'll go through Datadyne Central very briefly for you. Cooperative mode. Play settings. This is not going to let me. So yeah, 1 simulant, 2 simulant, so I can have a couple of mates help me out if I don't know anyone. Counter operative, which I don't think I can play on my Johnson, which is essentially, yeah, I need a second person. But yeah, basically, it's the mode that I was telling you about. You've got this, which is your Character Institute, which is basically your tutorial section built into the game, but you can go here and test out different weapons and shoot people in the face. So let me get that done, because there's a very special glitch one can perform. This is how you get to shoot your friends in the head and get clean away with it.
What do you want?
No, I want to grab crate. So I want to take the crate with me. Come with me now. Get through the windy corridors. Crate, come with me. This will be crate. Yes, my puns aren't very good.
Ah, a star agent.
Picking your ass.
I'm expecting a good show. Don't let me
Yeah.
down.
You expect that show, boy. Pop that there. Right, now you go to here. So this is your gun range. You can test out what you want to do. If I go to the crossbow, say, grab the crossbow. Yeah, let's start this. So you've got to hit the targets, but now I've got the door jammed open. I can shoot him. Oh. In the bars. Go on. Oh, you move. Yeah. So this is what I do with my time. Like a loser. Bought the training. Let's try some remote knives. That seems very good. Oh no! Oh no! I'm going to kill myself. Let's keep this going.
Just leave me alone, would you?
No, I will not leave you alone. You will suffer. Getting that. Woo! That's a spicy meatball. When the ghost, when the thing clears. Oh no! I know I blew up the crate, but he survives. Woo! So yes, he indeed can take a lot of punishment. Kill myself. Oh, you can't kill yourself. Well, they thought about that, didn't they? Oh no, I have to exit out. How's it going? Right through the eye. Right in the clackers. How's your balls? So there you go. That's how you treat your civilian friends. So this is the main game. I'll just show you a bit of the first. Well, I'll show you the first level, and then I will leave it there. The opening cinemas.
Why the big hurry?
If Dr. Cowell is not extracted tonight,
so while this did come out on the 360, and obviously this is playing on the Xbox One, it is essentially a reskin of an N64 title. So while it is better looking than the N64 one, it's not what you'd expect from like Xbox One standard graphics.
What's the target
Clearly.
location?
work your way down the building to the ground level. Dr. Cowell will be in a research
building looks
lab
like a bit
somewhere.
But yeah, I want to, at some point, it would be cool if I could get to write a Perfect Dark 2, because I know exactly what I'd do for it, and it would screw it up for that. Because essentially I'd make it that something you've done in this game is actually a negative, even though it's played off as a positive in this title. And I think that would, it would suit within the world of this. So, this is a Cyberpunk dystopia, as you can see. I'm on the top of a neon building. Vote. Look, someone wants to vote. There's the penis building. And, yes, so that's Schlong HQ. So this game is basically about different corporations, weapons manufacturers, who have huge amounts of political and social power and sway, using that power to develop new weapons to try and get a lead on the market. And that lead is usually not for the benefit of mankind or the country that they're in. So you play as Joanna Dark for the Carrington Institute, who's British, the hero. Oh hello. And this is Datadyne, the enemy, who are American. Those are sort of the lead two. In the books, they added several other companies that I'd love to see more of, which includes an all-female company called Core Mantis Omni Global, and they kind of have a core role in, I think, the second book, which isn't Initiative X, it's the Second Front. Howdy, boys. No, go away. So yeah, basically there's, I think, The problem that they had was when they did Zero, they focused on the alien aspect of it, where they could, rather than the cyberpunk aspect. And the thing is obviously, certainly for Microsoft, they've got an alien first-person shooter. You know, they've got Halo. And there's no way that you're going to go, right, I'm going to make a Microsoft first-person shooter about aliens, and it's going to be bigger and better than Halo, and everyone's going to know that, not Halo. That's not really going to happen. So, what they should have done with Perfect Dark Zero, and what I would do if I was doing a Perfect Dark 2, would be to focus it on the unique part of this, which is the cyberpunky, weapon-making conglomerates attacking one another and vying for sort of financial and market supremacy. That is such a cool thing that Halo can't and won't do, because it's not part of, it doesn't make any odds in the universe there for Halo. So you've got a unique slant there, and it's already built into this series, so why not run with it? You don't have to add it, it's already there. Whereas, yeah... Yay! I will add that the melee attacks in this game are set to their own weapon, so if anyone's wondering why I'm not running up and punching them in the face, it's because unlike Halo, you can't just run up and punch them in the face. I'd have to switch away from my gun to do it, which would be something that a sequel or a remake or whatever you want to do would, I'm assuming, you almost survived if you kept the silencer. Would actually be able to perfect. But yeah, so that's Perfect Dark. Me finishing a level, going down a building, shooting the crap out of people. By the way, I know I actually stated that there's missions you have to do, and that mission was literally just get to the bottom and murder everyone, so I didn't really make the point. Let's do this level, just to show you this one. Some Asian writing on the walls, and graffiti and stuff. So you've got the hover cars, like you expect from Blade Runner. There's a drone gun robot, which you can't destroy.
I don't want any trouble.
Oh. Oh well, never mind, since I failed. Good morning, gentlemen. Because I'm on the easiest difficulty, they've got the aiming capacity of stormtroopers, which obviously gets better with the hard difficulty. Oh, hello there. And a spasm, sir. Oh, I want to go into the pond. Boys. Nah, they're not coming. Boards. So someone's asked, Toastmaster has asked if I'm a fan of the Deus Ex games, and the truth is I've never played them, because they were I'm pretty certain they were exclusive to the PC, and PC gaming is not something I've really done, so I would love to though. They are on my list of games that I need to play. Obviously, like I'm doing a list of Cyberpunk films I need to watch, there are obviously Cyberpunk games I need to play, and Deus Ex would definitely be high up on that list. I know it's a well-renowned Cyberpunk genre game. Shoot them in the balls! Oh, really? Yeah, so Deus Ex is something I'm planning on doing. If you go on cyberpunkstudios.co.uk /TV guide, or just go on cyberpunkstudios.co.uk and find the TV guide in the options, there's a list of so in the there's a list of programs, and Cinemapunk should appear on there. If it doesn't already, I'll make sure it pops up in a minute. Pardon me, sorry. But yeah, basically the Cinemapunk page will show at least some games that I'm planning on doing, but not necessarily all the games will be on there. It's just like an idea of what sort of games this channel will be doing. There'll be Degeneration on the Amiga, that's one of them as well. There's obviously I've mentioned Jet Set Radio. This is Perfect Dark, that's the original on the N64 I can play as well. There's just a huge amount of so Deus Ex is one that I need to play, and I know that there's several in that. There's quite a few more recent games than the original Deus Ex, but I've not played any of them, so shoot away. I think actually wait for something to crash. Probably might crash because I couldn't botch the level bit. It's very good. Objectives failed! No! Oh! Well, that'll do it. That's the distraction. I failed the game. So yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. So after I bumped up the bit rate, the gameplay footage seemed to be okay, did it? You didn't have any issues with frame rate or any issues with, the quality after that point. Oh, Daytona! Cool. Excellent. So, if I click back, I have to remove the crop filter. Bam! When I play the Mega Drive, I have a wireless one. I've also gotten one for the Saturn as well. But yeah, that was the test stream. Obviously, with any luck, it will be decent quality. I'll watch it back and I'll try and figure stuff out. And it will be a little bit more together. I'll have like a script of ideas of stuff to talk about when I actually do the proper live streams. This was just a test to make sure that everything is actually working. I'm recording this as well anyway, and it will go up on the Twitch stream for people to look at later, though probably not the best showing of it. But yeah, I've got my lights set up. It all looks quite nice, and I can turn this one off. And it's all in the dark. In the dark, dark room in a dark, dark house, where the skeletons live. Like this one, look. I've got all of these little toys. This makes a noise, listen. Weird little noise it's making. Anyway, that's me being super neon and stuff. I look like a buck. Never mind. Looks alright with that on, but once you put this light on, you can see my eyes through it. It kind of ruins the entire effect. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. Just a quick shout out to the Dominic Diamond peeps who have helped me a lot. Yeah, if only the wire was the other side, that would be so cool. What I'll have to do is I'll have to start this side. Just be like, what's up? That was a bit camp, wasn't it? I thought dark. I'll probably be a little bit more loose as well when I'm into the swing of things. So thanks guys for joining me. Thank you so much to the entire group from the Dominic Diamond forums. I will see you guys soon. It won't be this Saturday that I start, but it will probably be the next week. But I'll give everyone an update on all the channels, which is Twitter at Cyberpunk Film, Facebook Cyberpunk Film. You've got our YouTube channel you can keep an eye on as well, but obviously updates will probably be through the social media channels instead. Cyberpunkstudios.co.uk is our website. You can contact us at contact@cyberpunkstudios.co.uk. And yeah, just keep up with us, communicate with us. and let us know if you've got any ideas of things that you really want to see. Yeah, if we can get that press start moving forward, so we've got basically our own variant of something like GamesMaster. Hopefully, people will enjoy what we do with that. The Legend of Liam is a Legend of Zelda piss take that I've got for that, which I think is going to hit quite nicely. Because I actually do a lot of script writing. I studied script and theatre. I've got a background in Shakespeare and things like that, so I decided to do a Legend of Zelda sketch, a very short sketch, which has like the gravitas of a Shakespearean play, but then is ruined at the end. Which every time I read it with the guys, it's we crack up. So I'm looking forward to getting stuff like that out. Yeah, if you want, so I'm gonna leave it there because otherwise I'm just gonna waffle like chips, like potato waffles. Do you like bird's eye potato waffles? They're waffly versatile.